Factsverse presents. A Florida man made an unsettling discovery on Google Earth that unraveled a 22-year-old mystery. Since Google Earth was introduced, people have used it to scout areas that they wouldn't have been able to see without it. Many discoveries were made through Google Earth, such as the red waters of Lake Urmia in the Middle East, a grid shape on the ocean floor that's said to be the lost city of Atlantis, and the presence of Mount Mabu. Google Earth has even been helpful in solving mysteries. A Florida man made an unsettling discovery on Google Earth that unraveled a 22-year-old mystery. Before we get into our video, help us spread the word about Factsverse by clicking that like button. Also be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. A property surveyor was on Google Earth one day, checking out his former neighborhood of Moonbay Circle, Wellington. He wanted to see how much the area had changed since he and his wife had divorced and he'd moved out of the community. What he saw on the satellite image shocked him. The man was looking at the images of water behind one of the houses in his old neighborhood, and when he looked closer, he saw what looked like a car in the water. He texted his ex-wife and asked her to check it out. The man's ex mentioned his find to her neighbors, Barry Fay, who agreed that the image on Google Earth suggested that there was a car in that pond behind the house. He went out to the pond to look for the car. He wanted to know, personally, if it could be spotted from ground level, but he didn't see anything. Barry had been living in that house for over a year, and he never knew about the car hidden under the water. After talking to the man's ex who told him about the car in the pond, Barry became extremely curious about it. He asked a neighbor who had a drone to fly it over the pond. Fortunately, the drone had a camera attached, and the neighbor flew it over the pond and took photos of the car that was submerged in the water. By this point, Barry decided that it was time to call the police. When Barry went to the police, he brought the drone photos and a printout from Google Earth. The police went to Barry's home and they taped off the entire yard. They believed the pond was a crime scene and they didn't want to destroy any evidence. They also made plans to pull the car up from the water. The police pulled the car from the pond and examined it. It was calcified, which led them to believe it had been underwater for a very long time. It was a white Saturn SL. It was 25 years old. When the police pulled the car from the water, they never expected that it would help them solve a 22-year-old cold case. When the police looked inside the car, they discovered a human skeleton. The coroner determined that the body was the remains of a man named William Moult. In the winter of 1997, William, a mortgage broker, went to a nightclub and had not been seen since. According to a missing persons report filed in 1997, William was at a nightclub in November. He called his girlfriend at 9:30 to let her know that he would be home soon. The people in the bar reported seeing him with a drink in his hand, but he didn't seem drunk. Also, his friends and family didn't describe him as a big drinker. He was wearing a suit and dress shoes, and he left the bar before midnight. After that, he was never seen again. The police believe William lost control of his car and it went into the pond. Back then, Barry's house was in the process of being built, which made it possible for the vehicle to go into the pond. The police were surprised that with all the construction going on in the area, nobody noticed a car in the pond. There's a pretty good reason why the car wasn't discovered until 2019. According to Science Alert, Google Earth constantly updates its images. The images taken from the satellite in 2017 were too blurry to see the car. It wasn't until they were updated in 2019 that the image was clear enough to make out the car. Barry was shocked by this news, and he let his neighbor know what he learned about the car. The police never expected to solve this missing person case, and they never expected the case to be solved by Google Earth. Subscribe for more.